So, do you consider yourself a nice person? And has your niceness ever kept you from getting your goals in a negotiation or handling a conflict effectively? You know, one of the critiques of interest-based negotiation and conflict resolution is that the nice or the soft way to negotiate. But today, I want to distinguish between niceness or softness and being kind or interest-based. Because actually, there is a difference between niceness and kindness, and effective negotiators, effective conflict resolvers, can be very kind and effective, whereas niceness or softness usually stops them from getting what they need. Okay, so if you're feeling stuck between niceness and kindness, I want to hear what your problem or challenge is. Please put it in the comments below. I'm Bob Bordone. I'm a senior fellow at Harvard Law School. I'm the founder and former director of Harvard Law School's Negotiation and Mediation clinical program. I taught negotiation, conflict resolution, mediation, and many other courses at Harvard Law School for more than 2 decades, and I'm a founder and principal of the Cambridge Negotiation Institute. So let's start by talking about the problem of niceness. Niceness, or being sweet, often looks like avoidance or concession making when it comes to negotiation or conflict. It often results in you getting unprincipled compromises that actually don't serve your interests. Let me give you an example. It involves my friends John and Mike. Both of them, wonderful people. They've been together for 8 years. The problem is that Mike was extremely nice. Now you're thinking, why is that a problem? Well, here is the problem. Every single time he had a problem with John, he conceded. He did something sweet. He never said anything. And then the last 6 months of their relationship was an eruption of literally years of anger and resentment and conflict in ways that felt completely overwhelming and surprising to John. Not raising something, being nice, and not addressing the problem didn't solve or prevent the relationship from falling apart. It actually led to the end. In fact, niceness almost always leads to resentment from at least one of the 2 parties involved. Let me give you a personal example of a trip I took with someone who was a dear friend many years ago. We spent a week in Disney World, and the entire week I kept on saying to this person, what would you like to do next? Or what are you hoping to do today? And they would always be like, whatever you want and whatever makes you happy. And I'd be like, oh, like, where would you like to go to dinner? And they're like, oh, what do you want? And basically the way this turned out is pretty much every single thing we were doing were what I wanted to do. And every indication was that this person was incredibly happy. On the last day of the trip, we're standing in line to go on a ride in the Magic Kingdom called It's a Small World. And about 90 minutes into this line, suddenly this person says to me, I hope you appreciate this. To which I said, I'm not sure what you're talking about. And she said, well, we've done every single thing you wanted to do this entire time and nothing I wanted to do.
What?
I was quite stunned because I had been asking her the whole time what she wanted to do. But the niceness, the never putting forward a preference, again led to this level of resentment and then surprise for me. So being nice or being soft can often lead to you getting the short end of the stick in a negotiation. But here's what else can happen. Sometimes when you're soft and nice for too long, you suddenly get really upset and you move to the other extreme. You become tough, mean, difficult, and uncompromising. And I think this is where people really misunderstand negotiation and conflict. They think you're either soft or you're tough. But that is actually not true. In fact, you can be principled, assertive, and kind. So whenever you hear someone say something like, you know, negotiators aren't nice, they're tough. Almost always, that person doesn't know very much about negotiation. And frankly, we hear that a lot in my field. So great negotiators know it's possible to be kind in a negotiation and also to be effectively assertive, to make sure they get their interests met and that the interests of the others are met well. Let me tell you how this gets done in an authentic way that is consistent with values of kindness and respect for the other party. So first, kindness means actually advocating for your interests, doing it in a way that is not aggressive, but that is assertive, doing it in a way that is open, but also involves really good listening and attentiveness to the other's interests. Kind people assert their interests in ways that also preserve the relationship in the long term. A kind and assertive negotiator also is able to identify value-creating opportunities. And in fact, research has shown that negotiators who are both kind but also assert their interests are better at creating joint value than people who simply hide their interests and cave in. The other thing kindness combined with effective assertiveness does in negotiation is that it promotes greater trust and resiliency in the relationship. Two of the most effective negotiators that I know are Ron Shapiro and Ambassador Katherine Tai. So Ron Shapiro is a legendary sports agent who has cut some of the very biggest deals in baseball. And Ambassador Katherine Tai is the chief trade representative for the United States right now. Be sure to check out the links to two videos I prepared on each of these great negotiators. Now, anybody who ever says anything about either of these two negotiators will say they are incredibly generous, they are great listeners, they are super creative, and they treat me with the utmost respect. Oh, and by the way, they get great outcomes. In fact, Ambassador Katherine Tai was the only member of the Biden cabinet to be confirmed unanimously by the United States Senate, a 96-0 vote. You don't get that if you're not effective. So the point here, right, is that one can be kind, one can be respectful, one can be generous and a good listener, and get what they need, what they deserve, and what they want in a negotiation. Niceness, on the other hand, usually means softness, caving in, resentment, and making unprincipled concessions. So if you know that niceness is costing you in your relationships and your negotiations, I want you to watch the next video, which is Influence Mastery, the Art of Persuasion in Relationship Building. To keep on learning, make sure you subscribe to my channel, ring the bell so you'll never miss new videos, and like this video. Okay, it's not difficult to keep watching. Click, click.